This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Through the night, deep in the heart of Texas, the trailer park is nice and dark. Deep in the heart of Texas, Cat drinks his brew and he spits his chew. Deep in the heart of Texas, the TV blares but no one cares. Deep in the heart of Texas, here we go.
Hey there, welcome to Bois, King of the Hill podcast. I am Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
And Rusty, we're somewhere else.
Yeah, this is the next step in the evolution of Rogue Media. Yeah, we're pretty high right now.
We are in the highest building in Waco, Texas. There are 22 floors in this building, and we are on floor 21, as you can kind of see out the windows there.
The building's height from the sidewalk is 246 feet and 4 inches, and the height to the observation tower on the top is 282 feet.
Yeah.
Waco itself sits at about 452 foot sea level, so we're almost 1,000 feet in the air right now. We're about 600, 700 feet in the air.
Wow. Don't tell Mason. He doesn't like
yeah,
that at all.
Mason don't like that idea. I broke it down into feet for you there, Mason.
so you can tell what it's going to take to fall out of this place. So as you can see, we're recording on a Sunday morning, which is a little late for us, but you can see all of right towards Baylor. And you can see I-35 there and all the buildings
interstate.
And stuff. It's a cool, it's
the Dr.
cool
Pepper Museum. They can't see it, but yeah, we do live in the home of Dr. Pepper, and we could actually see the birthplace of it from here. We could see its
well, you know who really
inception.
Can't see it is the people listening.
Yeah, they really can't see it.
There's a unicorn and a pink elephant.
And I think I just saw a couple of pigs fly from that direction.
That's right, yeah.
Which in a situation like this is one of those things where as a kid, you drive by this place all the time, and then you think, I'll never get to, the time I get to sit at the top of that building is when pigs fly. And there's a couple of pigs over there flying, sure enough.
So this building is the American Amicable Life Insurance Corporation or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's the Alico building, ALICO.
And in 1911, whenever it was completed and finished and opened, it was the tallest building west of the Mississippi. It was the original Western skyscraper. So it was the first skyscraper of the West.
Yeah.
There
was a big tornado that came through in 1953.
1953, yeah.
1953, tore up all of downtown Waco, but yet this building, 22 stories, remained intact.
And I don't know the builders that built it, but from what I understand, it was people that had built stuff in New York and things like that too. And the steel structure, they said, swayed. Yeah. And the way it swayed, it kind of just, it was able to keep its shape and not, it busted some windows out and stuff like that. But we're still sitting in it right now. So it's the structural integrity had to have been sound.
Oh, yeah. Especially for 1911.
Yeah.
And luckily it didn't take a direct hit. That was the big piece.
Yeah. It didn't take a direct hit. That was a big thing too.
All right. So we are here for King of the Hill.
We are here for King of the Hill. We did give you a little history lesson of the new building that we record from.
And for you guys on video or you folks that are helping us out on Patreon, by the way, thank you to everyone on Patreon. Jordan, especially to you.
Thanks, Jordan.
We really appreciate it.
You so much. Probably outside of Artie, our biggest fan. Yeah. I can't take that away from Artie.
Oh God, no. Artie's
can't take that away from Artie.
She's
probably our second biggest fan for sure.
We have another person that is quickly becoming a big fan of ours. Okay, we have now read 2 of their emails. So the one that was talking about the Crazy Eyes era
Oh, the Los Ojos.
And I'll refer to that on Friday. He's got some good ideas. I'm sorry, they have some good ideas about a possible thing we could do. So I'll read you that. on Friday.
Yeah. We'll check that out for a Friday episode.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I didn't know these things that they're talking about existed.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I don't know exist out there.
It's a couple of books about King of the Hill.
King of the Hill books. Oh, wow.
One of the books is so rare it's like $1,500.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. I definitely want to hear about that.
All right, we are at season 4, episode 9, To Kill a Ladybird.
To Kill a Ladybird. Yeah.
This is okay. So I'm gonna need to ask you a question here in a minute, and we'll discuss it in a minute. But
yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time we see Hank really break down, like emotionally.
Yeah. Let's see.
I mean, he literally cries in this one.
I don't know. He went blind. Have we got that far yet? Yeah, we've seen that one.
Yeah, that was
last season.
Yeah, but
we saw his mom.
I don't think he ever cried over that, though. You know.
I don't think he ever cried.
Anyway, we'll get to it.
I can't think of anything that he cried for. So if I'm wrong, Artie will let me know I'm wrong pretty quick.
The only thing I can think of is maybe tears of joy that he's cried before because of like Cowboys or something like that, you know.
And once we get everything set up here, we need to get Artie on again.
Or maybe when Ladybird got out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. We'll figure it out, and our folks will tell us. All right. So,
nah, he didn't cry. You talking about when she got out and she was running around with that other dog.
With doggy.
Yeah, he was. I think he was mad. He displayed the anger at the little doggy and at Con.
Doggy. I know it's a doggy. What's the dog's name?
Doggy.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
All right, so we start this one, like I said, season 4, episode 9, To Kill a Ladybird. We start at the Hill House at night in the living room. By the way, no bell, no yell. Hank is reading the paper, and Bobby is on the ground with Ladybird. And is this a thing that people do? He was rubbing that tennis ball on the dog, and then he throws it? I mean,
I've never seen that.
Okay.
I mean, he might have just been using it as like, like a massage deal, like them. They have the little, it's like at the hand thing with the 3 knots on it. He might have just been using it in that way for a dog. I don't know.
He's there on.
There are dog chiropractors.
Yes, I know.
Which I think imagine you go in there and somebody goes to adjust your dog and like paralyzes them from the waist down. Like, like how does that happen? How does that even happen?
But it's
how does that happen, Mike? How do we get to a point in society to where we're
massaging our dogs?
We're popping their flexor joints and stuff like that in their hips.
I don't know. Well, it is our fault that dogs are the way they are. I mean,
I'm telling you, idiocracy is playing itself out more and more.
We took those poor wolves and we turned them into pugs, and so that's a real problem.
Yeah, that is a real problem.
Teacup poodles. Okay, so Bobby is on the ground and he's rubbing that ball on Ladybird. He's trying to get her to fetch, so he's like, "Come on, Ladybird, fetch." That's right. He throws the ball. Nothing happens.
Nothing.
He says, "Okay, you can get it. Come on, girl. And then he's trying to kind of push her, but nothing happens. He's like, "Oh, fine. It can just stay there for all I care."
Yeah, because she's as old as him at this point.
Yeah. She says, he says, "You can just stay there for all I care. Get it. Come on." Like he's just not done with it, you know? Hank just kind of sighs, puts the paper down and says, "Get him the ball already." And he's talking to Ladybird instead of talking to Bobby, which I think is funny. And then he picks up the ball. Ladybird goes and gets the ball. He picks it up. And then he chunks it to Bobby and goes, "Here you go, boy." Like he's a freaking dog. He goes, "Take it easy on Ladybird, Bobby. She's 91 years old in dog years. Each time she fetches, it's like 7 fetches for you and me."
It's a lot of fetches.
It doesn't make any sense.
Makes 0 sense.
Bobby says, "Well, tell Ladybird I'm done playing because she only listens to you." Hank throws the ball. Ladybird goes after it, and he's just like, "Huh, that a girl." You know, and she really does only listen to Hank.
Only listens to Hank, yeah. And she's not very playful to begin with anyway. She's a bloodhound.
But she is a good guard dog for them.
Yeah, she's a good guard dog.
Even when they go through the whole thing where she's barking a lot or whatever, you know, that kind of thing, she's still a good guard dog.
Or when she bites Bernie Mac. I think Bernie Mac did the voice of the black repair guy. Yeah. They thought that he had a racist dog, and it turns out it wasn't a racist dog. The dog just didn't like repairmen.
That's right. Bobby takes the next thing we see is Bobby is taking the trash out to the side of the house, and there's just trash everywhere on the ground. and he looks up, and he moves some stuff, and there's a raccoon on the ground with a box on its head. It's like a cereal box on its head. And he goes, "Oh, hold on, little fella. That happened to me once." "Okay, Bobby."
Yeah, we believe it, Bobby. We believe you.
He goes, "You hungry? Well, let's see what Santa's got in his goodie bag." And he starts dipping stuff out of the trash bag. He goes, "Oh, what a crime. If you're not a hungry man, Luann, you shouldn't be taking on the hungry man dinner."
I like that joke. Yeah, that's really funny. Well, it's true though. If you're going to eat that's one thing that I hate more than anything.
Man has a lot of food though.
Well, no, but it's not that much food. But not only that, I just hate it when people order something and then they just throw half of it away or something like that, or don't even take it to go with them.
You know what I read the other day, or no, somebody told me this the other day, that at I think it's HEB, 80-something% of the salad, prepackaged salad, goes to waste.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
80-something%.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Throwing it away.
Yeah, I don't doubt it at all. Because it's got to be bought pretty quick.
Yeah,
I mean the freshness.
Oh, shelf life on that stuff.
Yeah, it's just the same as shelf life of any fresh anything. Because it is fresh, but it's packaged and sent to the store, and you got to eat it pretty quick.
A freaking avocado will last longer than that thing.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so
I think my kid eats more avocados than any human being I've ever met. Huh? Loves avocados. Eats about 6 or 7 avocados a week.
I had one this morning. It was lovely with my little fried eggs and my toast.
I don't like avocados.
Really?
It's a texture thing. Well, it's not the flavor so much. Mm-hmm. It's a texture. The texture of avocado. Mushy? Well, I don't mind certain things that are mushy like that. That's what I don't understand. I don't know why. I don't know if it's a mushy texture, but it's different. I don't know. It's like snot.
Well,
it's like mushy, slimy. I don't know. It's weird.
Almonds for me. I love nuts, right? But almonds, they seem like too much work. And it's because they have the little hulls on them, they get caught in your throat and stuff.
You're talking about that thin husk or whatever it is on them. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I worked at the candy factory for a long time, and we would get the big, huge bags of just, raw almonds that would feed into the caramel, and I'd go and get some sometimes, and it would get in between your teeth and stuff like that.
I don't know. It doesn't. My wife buys these
boiled almonds, like boiled peanuts. Have you ever had those?
No, I have not.
Neither have I. Heard they're great though.
So my wife buys these bags of like mixed nuts, and she'll put them in this container that we just keep in the kitchen, and every once in a while you just grab she gets onto me because I'll take the almonds out and throw them to the dogs.
The dogs eat the almonds. There you go.
And that way I can just dip in and get.
And it's good for their coat.
Let's say that. Now we're in the kitchen with Peggy, and Bobby is going through the cabinets and the refrigerator, it looks like, and just the pantry. And she goes, Bobby, at the table. I'm tired of finding crumbs in the bathtub. And then Bobby goes over to the side. He's found a couple of fruit pies, which doesn't seem like you ought to have to dig too hard for those.
No, he shouldn't have to dig too hard for fruit pies.
Quickly.
Yeah, I'm sure that his mom is going through boxes of them a week.
I'm hoping that she buys them. You remember the day old stores? Like you would go to the Mrs. Baird's
I know exactly what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. They don't have that no more.
It was great.
The last one died out in the old movie store Flicks in Belmead. That was the last one, and it just died out within the last 4 years, I think, 3 years.
It hadn't been a whole ton of time.
It's been a tattoo parlor. And it was a physical therapist building, and then now I think it is a chiropractor.
Yeah. The video store that I owned in Robinson turned into Rocket Video. That was a Flicks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that was a Flicks out there too. Yeah. And then it went from a Flicks to some kind of like what you did, I guess, gallery, like movie gallery. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That means nothing to anybody who's listening.
No, it means nothing unless you had a movie gallery in your neighborhood.
That's right. Right. I also bought all the neon from the movie galleries whenever they went out of business here, and I would put it up in my stores.
Yeah.
So he takes a couple of fruit pies. He takes one little bite out of one of them, and he goes, "Oh, is it me, or are they making these things bigger?" Because he just wants to take it out to the raccoon. Right?
Yeah. And so he throws. That was funny too, because nobody is going to believe Bobby's going to throw away a fruit pie. No. And nobody's even paying attention to him. No. Like his mom is completely ignoring him.
As long as he's not eating them in the bathtub, she doesn't care.
Yeah.
Why does he get in the bathtub and eat fruit pies?
Maybe he's hiding his habit.
I guess he stays.
I don't know. It's kind of like It's kind of like when your dad wants to crack a beer open at 10 a.m. So he's out in the yard doing stuff. So he, it's like Saturday and he cracks that 10 a.m. and he's hiding behind the tree or something. And your mom knows what he's doing. It's kind of like that with the fruit pies. I think. I think Bobby, like his mom knows he's in there cracking. She can hear the crunch of it open, so she knows what he's doing. But I think he just does it to hide it.
And she comes and yells at him in Spanish.
Yeah.
So he takes one bite out. He throws them both into the trash bag that he's carrying out, which has hardly any trash in it whatsoever. And he starts to go outside. Now we're back out with the raccoon at the trash, and he sees the raccoon digging in the trash, and he goes, "Oh, you don't want that. Tonight's garbage is meh." He goes, "I brought you something special," and he gives him one of the pies. He goes, "The black around your eyes makes you look like or it makes it look like you have a mask." He goes, "I'm going to call you Masky." No, wait. I can beat that. Bandit. Mind if I join you? And then he hops up on one of the trash cans next to the raccoon, and he goes, "How about a marshmallow chaser?" And chunks him a little marshmallow, and they both start. So they're eating their fruit pies and their marshmallows and stuff, and the raccoon makes a little chittering noise, and then Bobby decides he can do that same thing.
Do the same noise back to him.
Something like that. Yeah. I love that part. I thought that was fantastic.
I kind of like this next part too. Just sitting there munching on the marshmallow. That's what I like about raccoons is their thumbs, and they hold things like, it's kind of like a human-like.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's like, I don't know, they're just hard to hate. They're just hard to hate.
Oh, they really are. Yeah.
But
unless one's coming after you. Maybe.
Yeah, I like this observational humor here from Hank about the fish and the snakes and the dog. That's a very, very. It's one of those things that's very relatable too for like Texans. Not at my house because my dad never really cared about what animal was what. My dad my parents had cats and stuff because my dad's like, well, I ain't got to take care of that damn thing and take care of myself.
Cats,
they just take care of themselves kind of thing. But a lot of friends' dads that I had, because my dad's not conventional. A lot of like the conventional Texas dads that I was around as kids, that's exactly the thing they'd say, oh, cat, that's a girl's pet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I hate cats. There's like a really and it's not even like I don't want a cat. It's like I hate cats. Yeah. It's that real like a deep kind of hatred. Like, I can't have a cat.
Yeah, it's a guttural hate.
It's weird. It's so weird.
The next thing we see, we're at Pet Pals, and like you were referring to, Bobby and Hank are walking through the store. This is a pet store, and they're passing all the other pets, and he's like, fish, snakes. Yep, dog's the only animal that makes sense, and I suppose a cat might work if you're a little girl or an old lady who, is sick.
Yeah.
So Bobby is looking around at the little toys, the dog toys and stuff, and he picks up a Frisbee. And he starts to daydream just a little bit, and he sees himself playing catch. He's throwing the Frisbee, and you see all these dogs running around and stuff. And then out of nowhere comes Bandit jumping up in a little kerchief.
Yeah.
And he catches the Frisbee, runs it back to Bobby. And then one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen, Bobby shakes hands with the raccoon.
Yeah.
They have a hearty handshake.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. He kind of snaps out of it, and he goes back and goes, "Can I buy this, Dad?" And Hank says, "Bobby, this is a pet store, not a toy store. You know how much they mark that junk up." And then to really contradict himself, Hank has a coffee mug, and he takes it up to the guy at the counter, and he goes, "Excuse me, how much is it to get your dog's picture put on this mug?" You can't have a Frisbee, but I'll get Ladybird on a mug.
I got a couple of facts I forgot to run through real fast to Artie's. This one is one of those ones that was written by none other than Paul Leiberstein.
Okay.
Which is Toby from The Office for everybody. Okay, so it's just some quick Ladybird facts.
Yeah.
And then whenever we get to the rabies part, I'll have some more facts for the rabies stuff. But so these are Ladybirds facts.
I didn't look up facts for rabies because I assumed that Artie would.
Yeah, Artie did. He got me some good. He's got me some good stuff too. Yeah. And it's funny which ones actually cause the most rabies in America. It wouldn't be one that people would think. Okay. Old ladies. Yes, actually. Specifically 73 years old and higher.
Sure, that's when it really kicks in.
That's when it really kicks in, yeah. So Ladybird, for those of you who...
little lockjaw.
Yeah, it just locks onto you.
Right,
like a bat, like hinged like a bat. Yeah. So Ladybird is named, for those of you who don't know, she's named after LBJ Lyndon Baines Johnson's wife, Ladybird Johnson. Hank claims in an episode that her mother tracked down James Earl Ray, who was the killer for Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
She also, like Hank, has a narrow
urethra?
No, but she has a narrow issue, but it's a narrow uterus.
Oh, okay. Skinny uterus.
Yeah, she has a skinny uterus, so she also had issues procreating. Yeah,
skinny uterus.
And actually, so in real life, bloodhounds' average lifespan is actually 7 to 8 years.
Oh, wow.
So she's lived double that by this point.
Yeah.
And according
91?
Yeah, 91.
Okay.
And then according to Bill, so Bill says this at some point, Hank and Peggy had Ladybird up to a full year before Bobby, making her at least 13 and later on 14 years old, because Hank says she's 91 in people years, so that would put her at 14.
Yeah.
So that's Ladybird facts.
Yeah, because we've been through that one episode where they got Ladybird because they thought they couldn't have a kid. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that.
All right, so now we're back outside at the trash with Bandit, and we can see that it's starting to rain a little bit, like it's kind of sprinkling. And Bobby comes out, and he's talking to Bandit, and he goes, "So we're eating dinner," and Ladybird starts to beg. Pfft, that says it all right there. And then he kind of looks around at the rain, and he goes, Mrs. Gribble said it wasn't going to rain. AccuWeather my foot.
Actually, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you again.
No, you're good, man. Go for it.
He got his information wrong, and I'm glad I could call him out on it. This wasn't written by Paul Lieberstein. This episode was actually written by Norm Hiscock.
Oh, really? Okay.
And Norm Hiscock is a guy I've been trying to get a hold of on social media to talk with, because he's done a lot of writing for King of the Hill.
Yeah.
And
I just kind of assumed
there's a lot of
Paul
strikes going
Lieberstein
on.
would be involved in almost everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of strikes and stuff going on right now, and. So the actors have now gone on strike with the writers, and the only thing that's stopping the Animation Guild from striking is they've got 1 year left on their current contract.
I see.
And in their contract it says that they cannot strike to protest their current contract. They can go strike with everybody else, but they got to be at work.
It's a little odd to me that you see Fran Dresser, the nanny, up giving a press conference where she says that they are the true victims. I would like for her to temper her words a bit. I don't know.
Well, to be fair,
victims is the word.
To be fair, I think it's somewhere between 87 and 89% of all SAG card holders make below $26,000 a year.
Oh, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that.
It's funny. It's funny for her to say that, because she hasn't been directly affected financially. I'm sure she probably has, in a sense, been directed at some point. But I don't know. She's one of those ones that I'm pretty sure she's made her living.
Yeah, it's just hard to use the word victim. I just that kind of stuck with me for some reason.
Yeah.
One of the things, though, you're talking about that strike. I just got through watching the new Black Mirror episodes.
Yeah.
There's one of those episodes where they talk about using a CGI likeness of people. And one of the things that's come out of this strike is that the studios had proposed a contract for stars that would let them do that with their appearance in perpetuity.
And they would only get paid for 1 day of work.
Right.
That's
so
crazy,
it would
right?
be forever
That's scary,
that
right?
They would own their digital likeness.
That's scary.
Now that,
and you know what that is also? That takes away your ability to use your own digital likeness, because you don't own it. They own your digital likeness in any form, shape, or fashion. Your digital you belongs to them. That's nuts.
Go watch Joan is Awful, the first episode of the new Black Mirror.
The new Black Mirror.
It is it's scarily accurate.
I've seen 0 of that show altogether. I'm just going to go through and watch it from the beginning.
Start at 1.
Yeah.
They are all very, very good.
Does it kind of do?
I thought was fantastic.
Does it kind of do like American Horror, where it's a different thing each season, kind of thing?
Twilight Zone, American Horror, whatever.
That kind of deal.
Yeah. It's a different
Twilight
story.
Zone.
It's a different story every time. And I would say it incorporates technology basically into every episode.
Yeah.
But it is a technology heavy Twilight Zone.
And it kind of probably touches on a lot of the shit that we're faced with right now.
The last one was basically a horror.
AI is
was
scary.
Good. It was good. Okay, so enough of that. This is so it's starting to rain, and he says, "AccuWeather my foot." And he goes, he opens a little gate. You know, you have that grid that's or that what do you call it? The covering over like where the basement is.
Yeah, like a vent.
Yeah. He opens that and he lets Bandit in. He goes, "I'm going to leave this open so you can use the street light as a night light." But my question was about the basement. We don't have basements here.
It's not a basement. It's the garage.
Is it?
It's the vent for the garage.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
I thought it was basement because when Dale crawls under and stuff.
No, that's like the crawl space for the house.
Okay.
But like I'm curious as how
so it's just a crawl space. You're thinking
it's like a pier and beam house.
Oh, okay.
So it's probably like
makes more sense.
like the crawl space. And I would think it's a pier and beam house. And the only reason why I would say that is because I imagine that the Hank living in that house is probably not a brand new home. I imagine they moved into it in the 80s, so it was probably a used house when he bought it. And if it was built in the 70s or 60s or something like that, it's probably on a pier and beam.
Those little neighborhoods, I would assume. Yeah. When I growing up, all my houses were pier and beam.
Yeah, all them little I grew up in a pier and beam house too. Yeah. All them little houses like that are all mostly going to be pier and beam.
Well, the issue we have out here is a lot of shifting dirt. You know, the earth shifts a lot around here. I can remember at our house, it would shift and you'd get cracks in the drywall and stuff like that. You know, my dad ended up just putting up paneling, and that way you couldn't see when the wall shifted.
When the wall shifted, the old 70s wood paneling.
Oh, we had a lot of that stuff. Yeah, and our house was bright yellow.
Oh, bright yellow.
Outside, bright yellow.
Oh, wow.
And then at one point, they painted the house almost black. It was so gray. It was like midnight gray or something like that.
I want an all black house.
So weird.
I want an all black house.
I don't know. They were odd. And we had a big cactus garden out front.
Like a saguaro,
No. We had like the little punky
I got you.
ones.
Yeah.
I fell into that thing probably more than once. Yeah.
We had stickers real bad in this one patch in our backyard. And I remember me and my brother sometimes would get into it, you know, pissed off at each other, rolling around fighting.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many times either him or me ended up with 2 hands full of stickers, and you're just sitting there trying to get them all out. It's terrible. It's rough.
It's almost like, and maybe they do, but it's almost like they have little barbs on the end of them that stick into your skin.
When you try to pull them out. Yeah.
It's almost like a little fishing hook or something.
Yeah.
And I worry about like now with it being over like 104 every day of this month. You worry about those stickers and the brambles and all that stuff, you know, because that's when that stuff really dries out and gets nasty.
Oh, it hurts. Yeah. Especially when it's this hot outside like it's been. It's insane.
I think yesterday it was 104 with a heat index of 115.
I'll believe it. I believe every bit of it.
Insanity. Yeah.
Well, we are latitudinally on like the same playing field as some of the most inhospitable places on Earth.
Yeah.
Dallas is on like a 30-degree plane with like the Sahara Desert, the Iranian deserts, and it's just on that same...
It's insanity that anything grows around here.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so now it's the next day. He's let Bandit into the crawl space, and the next day from behind the door, let's see, what am I referring to here? Oh, Hank comes into the garage. So the next day we're in the garage of the Hill House, and Hank comes out there. He's got a big bag of canine complete dog food recipe for dry kibble. And he I'm assuming that's what he bought over at Pet Pals.
For Ladybird.
Yeah, he goes out with the bag, he puts it down, and then he looks around, and there's just a mess everywhere in the garage. And so he finally looks over. He sees the raccoon. They lock eyes, and Hank's like, "Gah!" This is another time that we find out Hank is afraid of something. We had that trivia question where it was bats. Well, I would argue that this raccoon he's deathly afraid of as well.
Yeah.
Not just bats.
Sure, not just bats.
Yeah.
Speaking of bats, this is my fact. In Austin, Texas, there is a huge urban population of bats that sits underneath
that bridge.
The Congress Street Bridge. For those of you that don't know, the Congress Street Bridge is the street that lines up directly with the Texas Capitol, which is... oddly enough, us being a state that suppresses rights for women, it is a big, huge pink building because Texas is known for its pink granite.
Yeah.
And it was made out of Texas pink granite when it was made. So there you go. There's a little Austin fact for you guys.
Yeah, I lived in Austin for a little while, and
it is a beautiful building, though.
It is a beautiful building. They have a wonderful downtown. It's just too bad that there's politicians in it. So Hank kind of goes, yeah, and he runs back into the house, and from well, actually, before he runs into the house, he goes, "You're gonna wish you messed up somebody else's garage, you furry bastard!" And he picks up a screwdriver like he's gonna fight the damn raccoon. And then he runs back in the house, and
scared.
And behind the door, you hear him say, "Bastard!" And
that's why I don't think Hank's that country. You know what I'm saying?
You don't hear Hank say "bastard"
that's
very
why I don't
often.
think Hank's that country, because I've seen my dad like challenging raccoons, but my dad's like out there in his underwear, like fighting them, ready to fight, kind of thing, in the middle of the night at the trash cans.
Sure. Yeah.
And then Hank runs inside. So I think
well, he also reaches back out.
Hank
and grabs
is a lot more timid too than
I believe so. Yeah,
than a lot of
well, it takes a lot to get him riled up. You know,
yeah.
Like we were talking about, Jimmy Witchard's the only guy you ever see him kick his ass.
Yeah.
But that took a lot
to get him there. Yeah.
A lot of screwing
around. Had to mess with Bobby. Yeah.
But what I love is that Hank grabs the dog food and pulls it back inside, and then behind the door, "Bastard, bastard." That's all you get. All right. Then now we see in the kitchen, Bobby, he's pretending to take the trash out again because he wants to go see Bandit. He goes, "I'm going to take out the garbage." Peggy says, "No, Bobby, there's a raccoon out there, and it almost literally attacked your father." He says, "Raccoon?" Hank says, "Don't worry, I'm going to get rid of it." He goes, "Bandit was just hungry, Dad." He's named the thing. So Hank says, "Bandit? Bobby, you name a pet. You name a guitar. You do not name a filthy animal, and you do not feed it our garbage." No wonder it was
Bandit.
No wonder it was rooting around in the garage. It was looking for more of your handouts, and he takes the trash away from Bobby. Bobby goes, "It's not a handout when you feed Ladybird, is it?" Hank says, "Ladybird is a member of this family. You've seen our Christmas card." Bobby says, "Yeah, I've also seen her drink out of the toilet, wipe herself on the carpet, sniffing other dogs," and Hank has had enough. He's
getting pissed.
Enough.
Yeah.
Bandit is a wild, disease-ridden animal that will bite your face. Now, does that sound like something Ladybird would do? Bobby, again, defending Bandit. Ladybird doesn't do anything anymore. She's too old. And Hank says, "Bobby,
Ladybird is in the room."
Ladybird is in the room.
Talking about wild, disease-ridden animals, leave possums alone. Yeah. If you ever see possums, leave them alone. Mm-hmm. They don't carry diseases.
No.
They are very disease-resistant animals. They eat
a lot of bugs.
All the bugs that cause Lyme disease. Mm-hmm. They'll eat a lot of ticks and nasty stuff that hurts you. They're actually things you want in your yard's ecosystem. I
always thought possums are kind of cute.
I always thought they were like...
And when you see one of those...
It's kind of like people who like pugs. Mm-hmm. They're so fucking ugly that they're cute. You know what I mean? Like a possum is so ugly that it's cute.
There's honestly nothing cuter than you see a mama possum and she's got all the babies hanging off of her and she's just like, waddling down the street.
Jordan had mentioned that she had found one of them, our plushies that she sends us. She had found a possum. She had found a possum squishmallow.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Okay, so next we're in the alley with all the guys. Of course, Bill, Boomhauer, Dale, and Hank. Hank says the whole garage looked like one of those horror movies, tools all over the place. Well, that's not a horror movie.
No, that's not a horror movie. That's your nightmare.
Dale says, "Yep."
That does piss men off though. Like I don't really care because I don't own a lot of tools, but I know as a kid, if you my dad would be like, "Go get the whatever socket." Yeah. If you got that socket or however many sockets you got out, and if you jostled it around and then closed it, and then the next time he opened it, everything was kind of strewn out, he would be like, "Oh my God, I only told you to get one socket, not throw five of them all over the box."
I am just the opposite. I have a little storage building out back, and it is a giant mess.
A mess.
Yeah. I think I'm going to die before that gets cleaned up. Dale says, "Yep, sounds like a raccoon or a possum imitating the behavior of a raccoon or a squirrel." Okay, Dale, that doesn't make any sense.
No.
He's like, "What I'm getting at is I will handle it." Hank says, "No thanks, Dale. I've already taken care of it. I put out spring-loaded live traps this morning." He goes, a trap? The only thing that's going to get trapped is you, Hank, trapped into thinking a trap actually works. And then Bill goes over as they're talking to the cooler to get another beer out. He opens it up, and for some reason, Bandit is in the cooler. I'm not real sure how that happened, but he's in the cooler.
I got a quick fact here. So Dale, when he goes to crawl underneath into the crawl space, there's a little noise, like a whatever noise that Bandit supposedly makes. That noise is from the video game Oddworld.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Apparently there's a creature on Oddworld that makes that noise, and that's where they pulled that sound bite from
that's
was
cool.
from Oddworld.
So Bandit is in the cooler. Bill falls over because he's scared out of his mind. Hank throws some loose change at it because he has no idea what to do while screaming, "Get out of here, you furry bastard." And then you see Dale. He comes over and starts picking up the change like the 23 cents on the floor is just going to be the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And then he gets up and he hands Hank his card and says, "My card." Bandit we see run under the house. So now we know where he's at. Next thing we see is a lot, and I mean a lot, of poison inside of Dale's.
Oh, he hasn't went underneath yet.
Oh my God!
Yeah, this is the part right here where that sound is. That's my fault. Yeah, I jumped the gun.
You're good. But we see him like getting ready. He's putting on all his stuff,
poison everything.
He puts a freaking Bowie knife into his shoe. You know, I mean, the dude is strapping up.
Popularized by Jim Bowie.
That's right. He says, "No worries, Hank. I played out this scenario 1,000 times in my mind. Most of them I've won. Most of them."
You know what I do when I go to San Antonio?
Yeah.
I go to San Antonio once a week for work,
right.
And I deliver near the Alamo.
Yeah.
So I drive past the Alamo, I roll the window down, and I scream every day. This is every Thursday I do this. So if you're at the Alamo on a Thursday afternoon and you hear somebody screaming, "Remember the Alamo," from a big white van, it's me. But that's what I do. I roll the window down and all the tourists and everything, I just scream as loud as I can, "Remember the Alamo."
That's awesome.
I just watch like 40 people turn back to look at me.
That's funny. So he's all strapped up, and he's like, I can't get over the fact that in his mind, most of the scenarios he's won.
Yeah, for sure.
He's lost several of them, but in most of them he's won. He goes, and by the way, now he's holding a machete. Which Dale with a machete scares the bejesus out of me.
Dale with any of the equipment that he actually is currently in possession of.
It's kind of like when he had the flamethrower thing that he made.
I've seen him strike and light his poison on fire and light his cigarette with like flammable poisons.
Insanity.
Yeah.
He goes, now, and he's talking to Hank. He's like, "Now, are you going to need the raccoon's pelt intact or for a hat?" Bobby says, "I thought you were going to trap Bandit and free him in the woods. Why is everything you're wearing so sharp?" He's talking to Dale. He says, "You're not going to hurt my raccoon, are you?"
That's entirely up to him, Bobby. That's very Navy SEAL like. That's entirely up to him, Bobby. Either he comes peacefully or I cut him.
So Dale is looking under the house now through that screen, and he goes, "Hank, once I crawl in there, I want you to quickly cover the hole with the screen. That's the only way in and out for the raccoon. Do not remove the screen. No matter how much I plead or beg, you do not remove the screen." And so all the guys are kind of gathered around watching him get under it. And he gets under it, and they put the screen back, and it is, 10 seconds. And then you hear the noise from the raccoon. That's that noise you were talking about. Yeah. And Dale is almost immediately back at the screen. "Hank, open the screen. For God's sakes, Hank, I'm begging you, the screen. Ah!" And then Hank says, "That's it. I'm taking off the screen." He takes the screen off. Bill says, "You promised Dale you wouldn't." He continues
to... Hold on.
Yeah.
Here's where the sound comes from. Somewhere here. Hold on. Well, that ain't it. I thought that was it.
That's all right.
Well, it doesn't matter.
When you find it, let me know.
It didn't matter.
So we hear the screaming continue. Hank's like, "That's enough."
Oh, I think I found it. Hold on.
All right.
I think this is it.
Really?
When he first opens it,
I can see that they would play that over and over or something,
I guess they modulate it or something, or do something different with it. But that's the sound that they use.
That's crazy.
It's a scrab. Scrab is what it's called. It's something in the game called a scrab.
Huh.
That's where the sound comes from.
So we've now taken the screen off, and the raccoon comes out, and it kind of corners Hank. And then we see Ladybird come up, and she starts to attack the raccoon. And so this whole melee takes place, and Hank's like, "Get off of her. Hey, Ladybird. And then you see both of them taked off down the alley. So they both run away now, Ladybird chasing the raccoon. And Hank, of course, is calling for Ladybird, and Bobby, of course, is Bandit, come back. And then Hank picks up the collar. The collar for Ladybird has come off, and there's a little blood on it. He goes, "Oh my God, Ladybird's hurt.
Someone call 911." They would laugh at you.
And then Dale looks at him and goes, "I give you one little thing to do, and you screw it up."
He said, "Don't open don't open it."
Well, he said, "Don't open it." Then he opened it, and now he's telling him he screwed up.
Yep.
And that is our first commercial break, and we will take it there, and we will be right back. Well, let me tell you, Rusty, eating healthy used to be a struggle for me, but that was before I discovered the BlendJet 2 portable blender.
The BlendJet 2.
Now, when fast food temptation strikes, I just blend up a delicious and nutritious protein shaker smoothie. You know, they gave us a whole bunch of those little packages that came with the blender.
Yeah.
And there's some really good flavors in there. I mean, there's some like that matcha thing.
The green matcha?
Yeah, those are pretty damn good. BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up smoothies at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach. It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease. Maybe a human thumb. Don't put your thumb in it. BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking up the whole house. Lasts for 15 plus blends and recharges quickly via USB-C, which has saved us all. There's nothing worse than turning that USB thing over and over and over and over, and then finally finding how it plugs in, you know?
Oh, yeah, I don't like that either.
USB-C
saved us all.
Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap, and you're good to go. There's 30 plus colors and patterns to choose from. There's a BlendJet 2 to complement just about any style. We have a pink one? Lavender. I think ours is lavender.
Mine is the Toy Story Aliens.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the Pizza Planet one.
Ooh, that one. Yeah. They've got some really cool colors, but I really like the patterns. I know one of the people here got one that looks like Woody the Sheriff.
Is there a code with them?
There is a code. What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today. Glab it today.
Glibbity glob.
And when you do glab it, make sure you use the promo code
BWAAA12.
That's to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to the quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code
BWAAA12
to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. Shop today and get the best deal ever.
BlendJet 2, formerly known as BlendJet.
Hey, everyone. It's me, your puzzle-loving pal. Did you know I was a puzzle-loving pal?
I didn't know you were a puzzle-loving pal.
I got to tell you about my latest obsession. It's Wongo puzzles. These things are the real deal. They are high-quality, handcrafted, and perfect for anyone who loves a good challenge but doesn't want to dedicate their entire kitchen table to puzzles for a week. Trust me, I have been there. I will tell you this. My parents, they're very old and decrepit, and they do puzzles all the damn time.
Yeah.
Like there's always a table that has like an unfinished puzzle. Yeah, it's either that or I don't know.
Die.
feel your bones. So these puzzles, these Wongo puzzles, they are 100% wooden. They'll last forever. Each piece is hand drawn. Just think about that for a second. Each piece is hand drawn, so no two pieces are the same, and you'll discover some fun whimsy pieces as you work through it.
Whimsy.
They come in a custom wooden box, which is perfect for storage and gifting. Before we started doing this, I didn't realize how many people I know already have these Wongo puzzles. I mean, they're apparently pretty.
You can't go wherever Juan go.
With stunning designs and unique shapes, Wongo puzzles are a cut above the rest. I loved doing the snow globe puzzle myself. It was great to pull out a puzzle and be done in a night and not have it on the table for a week. So what are you waiting for? Let's go to Wongo Puzzles, WONGO puzzles.com, and pick a puzzle today. And be sure to use the promo code
BWAAA
for 10% off your order. It's the most fun you'll have with a puzzle, guaranteed, or your money back. Go to WONGO puzzles.com and use your code
BWAAA
to get 10% off your order and get puzzling right now. And we are back from that lovely commercial break.
Alrighty.
So now we're Ladybird has chased the raccoon, chased Bandit down the street. We went to a commercial break, and then we see Hank driving up into his driveway in his little red truck. The guys are all out there waiting. I believe Bobby's out there waiting. I know he is. And Hank gets out and he goes, I can't find Ladybird anywhere. And Bobby says, Dad, he goes, any luck, son? He goes, I looked all over the neighborhood. No sign of Bandit, not even a dropping. Hank says, what? You've been looking for that dang raccoon. It would have attacked me if it weren't for Ladybird. And now my dog's out there, possibly hurt, exposed to the elements. And even if she does find something to eat, who's going to mix in an egg? So Hank, have you ever done that for your dog?
No, I've never done anything special for a dog other than pour a cup full of kibble on the ground for it.
And so Dale comes up and he's like, I'll find Ladybird. Lucky for you, I'm not only an exterminator, I'm also a bounty hunter. My other card. And he gives his card to Hank. He goes, tell me I sent you and you'll get 10% off. Tell me I sent you. All right. Yeah. Now we transition over to the Arlen.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
He is.
He needs a spinoff.
He does. I would love to see a live action Dale.
I don't care. Yeah, live action Dale spinoff. That would be hilarious. Just a bug, just a wacky bug guy.
Oh yeah, it'd be good.
And even if it's not Hardwick, just somebody out the street.
He is Dale.
He is Dale. He is. He definitely is.
All right. So
he's too old now though to play a 30-year-old Bugabago
CGI.
guy. Yeah, CGI.
Now we're at that's the answer to everything. Now we're at the Arlen Animal
That's
Shelter.
What they used to say back in the day. Oh, they'll just CGI it. Yeah, do it in post.
Yeah. We're now at the Arlen Animal Shelter, and we're talking to the guy that works there. Hank says, and he's putting up a picture of he's putting up a missing dog poster. Yeah. But it's Ladybird in a little birthday hat with a cake in front of her in this little black and white photo. And he goes, that picture was taken at her birthday party last month. Sorry, I don't have a more recent photo. Last month.
I don't have a more recent photo.
So, the guy at the
it's like that now though. People take like thousands of pictures of their dog a month.
Yeah. If they're not taking pictures of that, they're taking pictures of their food. The guy at
food looks good on a good camera though.
It can. Guy at the shelter says, Mr. Hill, I don't want to get your hopes up. The odds of finding a dog that's run away. And Hank just stops him and goes, Ladybird did not run away. She got in a fight with a raccoon and took off after it. The guy says, whoa, raccoon. And then Dale says, Hank, let me take over. As one animal control professional to another, was what appeared to be a raccoon, but I only saw it briefly and it was dark, so I don't know. Dale, you said nothing. You said absolutely nothing. But the guy at the animal control place, he says, well, it's too bad you didn't catch it because without being able to autopsy the raccoon, we have no way of knowing if it gave your dog rabies. Hank says, rabies? Because they haven't even thought about this. Yeah. Dale's like, now, as I said, I'm an animal control professional. Explain to Hank how you get rabies. Okay.
All right, so here we go. I'll go through the rabies facts.
Yeah.
All right, so in the United States, the most common wild animals that carry rabies are raccoons, skunks, bats, and foxes.
I knew skunks were bad with it.
Yeah. So contact with infected bats is the leading cause of human rabies.
Really? Bats is the number one.
Dracula. But instead of you turning into a vampire, you get rabies.
Your jaw locks up.
Yeah, you get lockjaw and you foam at the mouth and you get super thirsty.
Scared of water.
Yeah. So 7 out of 10 Americans who die from rabies in the U.S. each year.
So we only lose 10 a year to rabies.
7 out of 10.
Right. So I'm saying, but you say 7 out of 10 die?
Yeah, 7 out of 10 Americans who die from rabies in the U.S. each year were infected by bats.
Okay.
So 7 out of the 10.
So 10 die, but 7 of them were infected by bats.
Were infected by bats.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's a lot. That's a big 70%. Good Lord.
Yeah, 70% of all infections from rabies are bats. And it says that the first sign of rabies might be similar to flu, just like everything in the world. All the symptoms to everything.
That's right.
You might be dying of death if you have these symptoms.
Maybe don't stand around that bridge looking at those bats.
Yeah,
Maybe
so
it's not a good idea.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So it's weakness, discomfort, fever, headache.
Discomfort.
Prickling, itching near the bite spot.
If I reported discomfort every time, I would have rabies every day.
Yeah, I'd have rabies all the time too. Yeah. So those symptoms may last for days, and then the symptoms progress into cerebral dysfunction, anxiety, confusion, and agitation. So once it is established, there is no effective treatment.
That's crazy.
A small number of people survive it.
Yeah.
But the disease generally causes death.
Gross.
For that reason, if you're exposed to rabies, you must get a series of shots.
7.
to prevent the infection from taking hold.
And they're right in the stomach, right?
Yeah.
They put them in the stomach.
It's called post-exposure prophylaxis. Consists of a dose of human rabies immune globulin, HRIG, and rabies vaccine given on the day of the exposure.
Good Lord.
And they give it on days 3, 7, and 14. So you get 4 big doses of it. So that's
so now it's 4. I know it used to be 7 shots. Now they're saying it's 4.
It's 4 nowadays.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's great.
You get it on the day that you get bit or exposed to it.
Yeah,
and then you get it on the 3rd day, and then they give it on the 7th, and then they give you 7 more days, and then they give it to you on the 14th.
I can't imagine getting rabies, and I can't imagine getting bit by a snake.
I really can't.
Those are 2 things that
imagine any of it.
It's probably very common around here. Especially the snake part.
Yeah, no, for sure. It sounds absolutely awful to get something like that. Not on my list of. No, ooh, let's try this out.
That's not my bucket list.
Yeah, no.
So the guy,
it'll literally be your last bucket.
That's right, it'd be your last bucket. The guy at the animal shelter says raccoon bites are the most common way because they're talking about rabies.
Yeah.
Dale's like, because he's having him explain how he gets rabies because Hank is just he's just a normal guy. And the guy says followed by rat bites and then raccoon scratches. So it was a little different than the guy says here. Hank just looks completely.
Well, the data might have changed too.
That's true. Yeah.
Because this is what 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So the data might have changed.
Maybe so. We got more bats. Hank,
23 years ago.
Hank just looks lost. He just looks, he's glassy eyed because he can't take in what's happening here. He knows if his dog has rabies, his dog is done.
Oh, it's over with. Yeah.
Dale says, what? Oh, raccoon scratches moved up to 3rd. Good for them. Nobody's counting that, Dale. Nobody gives a shit. It's not a competition.
Nobody cares, Dale.
But he looks down and he has some scratches on his arm. Right?
Yeah, so
under his orange jumpsuit.
Yeah. Oh, I don't feel good. I'm cold, Nancy.
So now we're in Dale's basement, and Nancy is on the computer. Dale's sitting next to her, and he goes, "What does it say?" And she's typing stuff in. She goes, "Well, the earliest symptoms of clinical rabies in human are chills." He starts shivering. "I'm cold, Nancy, so cold."
But he's just standing there in his underwear and his socks.
Oh, well, the thing I loved is he's got his pack of cigarettes stuck
tucked
in the waistband of his
underwear.
Yeah. And he just has scratches all over him.
Yeah, he got tore up. That raccoon tore him up.
He goes, I'm cold, Nancy, so cold. She goes, "You're in your underwear, Shug." He goes, "Read on." She says, "Some sufferers may have a sore throat." And then he exhales smoke and goes, "My throat's on fire." She says, "Diarrhea." He doesn't respond to that at all and just says, go on. She says, "They may also feel anxious or fearful of things with no clear reason." He goes, Nancy, I think I have rabies." She says, "Dale, you're going to be fine. All we have to do is get you to a doctor so they can give you a shot." "Oh, sorry, 7 shots. He For Dale, that's a big deal. He looks at her and goes, "Let's say I don't get the shots. Is it possible to live a normal life infected with rabies?" And then this is one of those pregnant pauses that they use in King of the Hill that I love so much. She just goes click, clack, click, 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 click. No.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
All right. Next, we're at the Hill dinner, or in the dining room. They're all sitting down eating dinner, and I think this is the only line we get from Luann. She says, "And please make sure." She's obviously praying.
Yeah.
"And please make sure Ladybird is safe without rabies. And if rabies is part of your divine plan, then please change your plan and send us back Ladybird rabies free." Bobby says, "And Bandit too. Amen." Hank says, "No, sir. Bandit is not in this prayer. It's Bandit's fault we're in this mess, or your fault for feeding him. I'll let you decide, Lord." This is a very long prayer that everybody's involved in now.
Very long prayer.
Peggy says, "Now, Hank, I know Ladybird is just fine. She saved your life. I'm sure she can save her own." What, Peggy?
What does that even mean?
The dog can save themselves?
The dog can save herself.
Hank says, "Well, I hope you're right, but if she's out there suffering with rabies, I'll have to shoot her, and with my aim, I'll have to shoot her twice." I love that.
Yeah.
He just thinks to himself, "Oh God."
And those of you that don't know and haven't followed the plot line as close as we are, there's another movie that is really, really similar to this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which one?
It's the plot line of Old Yeller.
Oh yeah.
Gets bit by the raccoon.
Is.
Raccoon has rabies.
Yeah.
But this has a lot happier ending than the Old Yeller.
I'm surprised they didn't call this Old Ladybird or something like that.
Yeah, well, because to kill a ladybird would be to kill a mockingbird, which again is I guess that is more of
it's a life or death choice.
Yeah, right? It's more of a contextual decision or contextual choice for the name, I guess, than Old Yeller being it's like a literal Old Yeller plot line. It's the same thing. If if you put the same plot themes in for Old Yeller, it's all the same all the way down.
Sure.
Climax, everything, except for at the end of this one, it's a lot better result. It's a lot better result. Yeah.
So he's worried he's going to have to shoot his dog twice, and Bobby pipes up and says, "Okay, Ladybird good, rabies bad. I just want to find Bandit." I mean, Bobby is ticked at this point. He just wants his damn raccoon.
Yeah, he wants to know what's up.
By the way, my parents promised me that I could have a pet raccoon when I was little, and they never followed through on that.
Probably for a good cause.
It was for a good cause, yes. But at the time, as a child, you don't.
Oh, you're pissed. Yeah. You don't care. I just want a raccoon. Where's my raccoon?
Right.
Yeah.
And so, well, as parents, don't agree to that. There's some parental advice for you. Don't agree to everything your kids say.
Yeah, no, don't.
Because
tell
when
them
you do,
no
you're
very
in
often.
A buttload of trouble.
Tell them no as much as you can tell them no.
That's right. And Hank pipes up and says, "We all want to find Bandit, Bobby. It's the only way we can figure out if Ladybird's got rabies." And this is the harsh truth for Bobby. He's like, "How do they do that?" He goes, "Well, they take off its head." And that is, I guess, the way they do it. I mean, they have to, they have to dissect the brain.
Yeah,
right?
they cut because I know when they do that with dogs, they cut the dog's head off and send it to Dallas. That's what they always tell you. Oh, they cut the dog's head off and send it to Dallas.
Send it to Dallas. Poor male people, right?
Yeah, imagine you get a box with a dog's damn head in it.
Then next to that, you've got the box that somebody pooped in to see if they have cancer. And, I mean, God almighty.
Oh, man.
It's 104 outside and you're carrying around poop in a dog's head.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, my God. So Bobby is pretty shocked by that. Now we hear a knock on the door. Hank goes to the door, and it's Nancy standing at the door, and she goes, "I don't want to abuse the privilege, but I need you to get the..."
I don't know. I might feel more sorry for Dallas.
That's true.
Imagine how many dead dog heads are sitting in Dallas right now in a warehouse.
3-day drive. It's all
there's
hot.
like 40 dog heads in a warehouse waiting to be dissected.
Oh, Lord. They're just staring at you.
Yeah.
Nancy says, "I don't want to abuse the privilege, but I need you to get Dale out of the basement again." So the next thing we see is Bill, Boomhauer, Nancy, all outside of the door to the... now they have a basement, definitely, because Dale's down in his basement.
They seem to be the only ones that have a basement. But again, basements in Texas just aren't... Like I said, the most common thing is a pier and beam.
I think Dale dug it, is what I think. I think it's his fallout
personal
shelter.
Thing.
I think it's his fallout shelter, yeah. So they're all standing outside the door, and they're getting ready to go in and get Dale. Hank says, "All right, everybody ready to go?" And go. And Nancy goes up to the door and she says, "Dale, honey, pizza's here." And then from behind the door, you hear, "Pizza." So he's fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
He comes out. They all grab him. He's screaming like crazy, and they're trying to carry him out to the truck. He goes, "No, Nancy, look, Nancy, they're taking, no, ah." And then Hank says, "All right, Dale, we can do this the easy way or we can do it the hard way." Pregnant pause. Dale
do it
says,
the hard way.
Do it the hard way. He's just struggling. He's
loves
kicking
it, though.
them.
It's
He's
funny.
hitting them and stuff, and he's screaming.
I like how he pauses, though. Do it the hard way.
Do it the hard way. That's right. And then we kind of transition, and we see Bobby and Joseph watching all this happen. And Bobby says, "I'm worried about Bandit." And Joseph says, "I'm worried about my dad and Bandit."
And Bandit.
I just love those pauses. All right, and now we're in the truck. Hank is driving Dale to, I guess, the doctor's, and Dale is pleading. He says, and he doesn't have his hat on. He says, "See, I'm settled down. Now give me back my hat." And it shows the hat is up in the visor.
Yeah.
He goes, "Oh, yeah, it's easy for you to sit there with a head full of thick, gorgeous hair laughing at me. Please." And Hank says, "I told you, Dale, I'll give you the hat back after you get the shots." Now they stop at a crosswalk, and we see the person running the crosswalk. She's out there with a stop sign, and she's all official. She's got her hat on and everything. And then Dale jumps out of the truck. He grabs the hat. Instead of grabbing his hat that's in the truck, he grabs the hat from the crossing guard and puts it on and starts running off, right? Hank's like, "Dale, where are you? Hey, Dale, get back here, get back here." And then you see Dale jump a fence. Of course, you get, and he jumps the fence.
Yeah.
Now we're back at the Hill House. Everyone has been gathered at the Hill House because they are all going to go looking for Ladybird, for Bandit, and for Dale now. Yeah. They're losing half the freaking neighborhood here. They're all gathered in the living room, and Hank is addressing them all, and he goes, "Okay, a raccoon, Ladybird, and Dale are on the loose, and they all might be rabid."
Yeah, I've actually got a fun fact. Are we at that spot yet? I don't think we're there
let me
yet.
say this one thing, and then
we're not at the spot. We're not at the spot yet. Hold on.
So he says, "Peggy, you should stay here in case Ladybird comes home." Yeah. And I wrote out to the side, "Shitty Peggy," because
shitty Peggy,
not real. Yeah. She can't read the room, and she goes, "Not if, Hank, whether or not. Now is not the time, Peggy."
She hates the dog, though.
Oh, my God.
That's one of her secret hates. Yeah. She hates the dog. Yeah.
So Hank says the rest of us are
She hates the dog because the dog represents every child she was not able to have in her mind, I feel like. I mean, that's a little bit more psychological than maybe animated show goes, but the psychology of Peggy, that's what I think about Peggy. I think she despises the dog because of what it represents.
Also has a lot to do with the fact that the dog only responds to Hank.
That probably has a factor into it.
Hank says the rest of us are going to go cover every inch of Arlen, and I'm going to need somebody to help Nancy in case Dale comes home. Any volunteers? And you see Bill and John Redcorn raise their arms at the same time. Redcorn looks over at Bill and says, "I had my hand up first." And Bill's just like, "Oh," he just takes it right down. He says he doesn't want any part of that.
Yeah.
And then we see a little bit of a montage of Bobby putting out missing signs for Bandit. You see Boomhauer and Bill putting up missing signs for Dale. They're almost the exact same thing.
Almost, yeah.
And then we see Dale is in the woods. He looks awful, even though he's been in the woods. He's been in the woods for maybe 10 minutes. He looks terrible. And he's just over there, and he goes, "Survival diary update." And he's talking into a little tape recorder, like one of the dictation recorders.
Yeah.
"I've been drinking dewdrops found on the forest leaves, and I've been eating mushrooms and moss, mostly mushrooms. My rabies is taking a turn for the worse. I'm starting to hallucinate. When I close my eyes, I can see strange characters running around chasing colorful geometric shapes in a dark and infinite limbo. I have stopped closing my eyes. I fear I am going mad." Then his little lean-to that he's built back there with sticks, it just falls down.
Yeah. So this is where my fun fact or whatever comes in is right here.
He says, hang on one second. He says, "Survival reminder, need hammer and nails." And then he looks inside the little tape recorder, and there's no batteries in it. And he goes, "And batteries and tape for the tape recorder." And then he just chucks it into the woods, picks up a pine cone and starts talking into it, and says, "Also need a new tape recorder."
Yeah.
So what's your fun fact?
Okay, the fun fact is about mushrooms. So there's a lot of forests that have been destroyed and tore down and messed up in Texas, especially.
Absolutely.
I'm mainly speaking on Texas because there is no public lands in Texas whatsoever, as far as like BLM and stuff like that. Everything into every square inch of Texas is owned by a municipality or an individual.
Right.
So whether the county, the city, the state, or an individual owns it, it's all owned, every square inch. Well, I didn't even know this, but this is an artifact that I kind of dug a little bit more on just to discover, since he mentions eating mushrooms and stuff like that. East Texas is what is considered one of the last frontiers for mushroom hunters. Oh. There's over 600 or 700 varieties in the big thicket forests and stuff out in East Texas, and it's to do with the amount of rainfall and the fact that it's been protected now.
Makes sense.
Now it's all you can't. It's all a protected forest now.
Yeah.
So that is one of the last, quote unquote frontiers for mushroom hunters is in East Texas. So that it's a fun fun mushroom fact.
Yeah.
So if you're a mushroom hunter and you want to go hunt mushrooms, you could
go to East Texas.
Go to East Texas. There's all kinds of edible mushrooms and things. Yeah. But
you got to be careful.
Please don't just go eat mushrooms without knowing what you're eating.
There's some dangerous stuff out there.
Very dangerous. If you don't know what you're doing, don't just go eating mushrooms.
Just because you hallucinate when you eat a mushroom doesn't mean it's not also going to kill you.
Yeah.
So now we see Hank, and this is what I was talking about. Hank goes into his garage. We're watching him from behind. He goes up to his bench, kind of puts both hands down. The garage door slowly comes down. Once it comes down, you just hear Hank sobbing. I mean, he is crying.
Yeah,
his
really
eyes
bad
up.
too. Really
he turns
bad.
the table saw on to kind of mask the sound. But I've never seen Hank like this. And then he raises the door, comes out, cleans his glasses, and he's done. He's gotten all of his emotions out. He's done. All right, so now we go to Dale's house. Nancy and Redcorn are in bed together, so they wasted no time. Dale's out of the house, so we got a screw. And they start hearing some words or some noises, and we see them get up and go look to see what's going on, and we see Dale in his underwear with all his scratches going through the fridge, and he's getting stuff out to eat. And Nancy says, Dale? He goes, he hisses at him, right? He goes, yeah. And then he gets in the oven, and I can't tell if it's bread or a roast that he's got. I'm assuming it's a roast.
I'm assuming it's a roast.
But a roast takes a long time to cook.
A really long time.
He's got a roast in the oven, and he tries to get it out and goes, yeah, hot. And then he gets the oven mitts on and takes it out. And then Nancy says, you need a shot, Shug. And he says, ooh, ah. And he finally jumps out of the window in the freaking kitchen and just runs off.
With a roast in his hand.
With a roast, yeah. All right, the next thing we see, we're in Hank's garage. Or actually, this is before that. When he went in there to cry, he was carrying those like missing posters. It had his phone number on it. His phone number, and I would have to figure out what the area code is, but his phone number is 555-0197.
Probably 817 or
could be. Yeah, 512, 817, 254, 210.
903.
Mm-hmm. So if anybody out there wants to try every area code, 555-0197 is Hank's number. So Better Call Saul, when it was on, and I think you can still call it, there was a missing dog poster that they put up that had a phone number on it. You could call that number and you would get a recording from Saul telling you all
they would have a
his,
recording. That's funny.
It was fantastic.
That's actually good marketing.
I love
That's really good marketing. Yeah, I like that stuff too. It's like back in the day, there was a rapper from Houston named Mike Jones, and he gave his actual phone number out in a song where you could call and he would answer.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and it didn't last long before he changed that number. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're back in the Hill house, and the phone is ringing. Hank picks it up and says hello. Now we find out the name of the guy at the animal shelter. He says, "Mr. Hill, this is Big Terry from the animal control." And he goes, we've had reports of a bloodhound walking kind of funny out by the campgrounds at the Mary Alice Sherry Shivers State Park.
Yeah.
That is a long name. I don't think that's a real thing though, right?
I don't think so.
Mary Alice Sherry Shivers State Park. We're heading there now. And Hank's like, okay, I'm on my way. Just in case you find her first, when you call her name, say the first half longer than the second. Ladybird.
Oh, wow. That actually is a place.
It's a real place?
Actually a real woman.
Mary Alice Sherry Shivers.
Mary Alice Sherry Shivers. We get a Texas State Cemetery list here for her. Wife of Governor Robert Allen Shivers. She graduated from Our Lady of the Lake in San Antonio.
We're really narrowing down where Hank might live.
We are. We're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there for sure. So
now we have a phone number and we have area codes to kind of,
No, absolutely. So she's remembered as one of the most gracious first ladies. She supported her husband's political career as her husband was. I love that those old, because this is from the 30s.
Yeah.
This or the 90s is when she died. Sorry. So you get that old antiquated. She was selflessly supported her husband's political career. Hoity-toity. Sure. She was a stay-at-home mom. Who supported him when he was a senator, lieutenant governor, and then governor.
Yeah.
But I don't really see where it says anything about like a. You said a state park?
Well, it's funny that they picked that name out to make it into a state park. That's kind of cool, honestly.
There might be a state park with her name on it. Well, I don't see one, though.
If you find one, let me know. But Hank is still on the phone with this guy, and he goes, just in case you find her first, when you call her name, say her first half longer than the second.
You know what that might be? That might just be a created for the show, but it's just by some really expert writers.
Yeah.
Some really good writers to pull, because that right there, that's a nugget.
Sure.
That's a nugget. I never would have known that.
He tells the guy how to call Ladybird, and he goes, you got that? The guy on the other end of the phone, Big Terry, he goes, Mr. Hill, if we get there and the dog's acting strange, we'll have to put Ladybird down. And Hank's like, oh, no. And then he just like lets go of the phone, doesn't hang it up or anything. The phone's still hanging down.
Yeah.
And on the phone, we hear Big Terry go, Mr. Hill, are you there? I'm sorry. I meant we'll have to put Ladybird down.
Ladybird down.
That's a really good use of that joke.
That is a good joke.
All right, now we're at the park. We're in the woods. We got Bill, Boomhauer, Hank with a rifle, mind you, and Bobby. He hands a flare gun to Bill, which is a bad choice.
Terrible choice.
It's a terrible choice. He goes,
it's not a good thing ever to hand Bill anything that could hurt him or others.
I just think if you hand Bill anything.
Yeah, I really wouldn't hand him not even, a slip of paper.
Hank says, now, Bill, if you see Ladybird first, fire this flare straight up in the air, not at her. And he's like, okay, he takes it. He's looking at it. And then Hank turns his back and pew, there goes a flare, almost hits Hank in the head. And he goes, oh, false alarm. So they are going off looking for everybody. Now we are in the woods with Bobby and Hank because I'm assuming they all split up. Bobby is throwing mega mellows on the ground, leaving a trail for the raccoon.
Yeah.
Right? And he says, what are you doing, Bobby? If you're looking for that raccoon, you're wasting your time. It's probably 2 towns over now eating some other kid's garbage. Bobby says, well, at least Bandit never ate my lunch until after I'd thrown it out. That's what I'd call common courtesy.
Yeah.
Hank says, yeah, I remember the time Ladybird jumped up and ate your peanut butter sandwich right off your plate. I thought she'd never stop licking the roof of her mouth. I'll tell you what. Oh, I never laughed that hard again. Never laughed that hard again. That's so funny.
That is funny.
We hear a branch snap off in the distance, and Hank's like, oh, Ladybird, come here, girl, come to daddy. And then he says, so he can send you to, and he kind of gets choked up, puts a bullet in his gun and goes, doggy heaven. I mean, geez, Hank, that's rough. Come here, girl, so daddy can send you to doggy heaven. Now, as they're walking through the woods, it's kind of like in, what is it? What's the one where all those kids are on the island, the book, Piggy, and they throw the rock down and hit that guy in the head.
Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies. So it's kind of like Lord of the Flies. They've got all these sticks sticking up, or Dale has all these sticks sticking up as almost a warning. He's got bugs and mouse heads and all kinds of stuff on these sticks.
Yeah.
They're walking
it's
through.
a very Lord of the Flies feel right here to
so.
it. Yeah.
And it's just like, ugh. And then Hank says, what the heck? And then Dale drops from a tree and just goes, yeah! And that's it before we get to our next commercial break. So we're going to take that and we'll be right back. Hey, Rusty, did you know that you could be putting oil and chemicals in your coffee?
No, I didn't know that.
I mean, I love coffee creamer, but I don't think I've ever turned a bottle around to actually see what's inside. Recently I did, and I found out many of my favorite creamers, like especially the one my wife used to use, they contain ingredients I would never intentionally add to my coffee cup, like canola oil, potassium phosphate, whatever that is.
Terrible.
Artificial flavors. I can't take artificial flavors a lot of the time.
Yeah, I'm good on any flavoring.
They taste gross.
I don't like flavors in my coffee. I like the earthen flavor of coffee.
I mean, I love coffee. Don't get me wrong. I do love it. I just I don't like all that crap in my coffee, right?
Yeah, no, who does that?
So let me tell you about Laird Superfoods then. They have better ingredients, amazing taste, and functional benefits. Laird Superfood creamers are crafted from the highest quality, all-natural, real food ingredients. All Laird products are sustainably sourced and thoroughly tested to ensure that you're incorporating the cleanest, finest fuel into your routine. Now, they're all natural. They've got whole food ingredients. They contain naturally occurring MCTs from coconut oil, and everybody tells you coconut oil is good for you. Mm-hmm. There's no artificial flavors, no colors, no additives, no sugar from highly refined corn syrup. So that's a big deal right there. If you take one thing you do every day and make it better, Laird developed his creamer himself to stay powered for a day on the waves. He was a big wave surfer, Laird Hamilton was, and he needed a morning fuel that could allow him to spend the entire day chasing the ultimate wave. So he made this creamer, and it is it's crazy, crazy good. Laird sources high-quality plant-based ingredients globally and puts an emphasis on U.S. sources whenever possible. They aim to source responsibly and sustainably and believe that the foods you consume should be as good for the earth as they are for you. They have honest and transparent products and labels. If you try it, you won't go back. They have functional superfood creamers, instant lattes, and prebiotic greens. They have a variety of snacks and supplements full of wholesome plant-based ingredients to keep you charged for wherever life takes you. So to get a deal on Laird Superfoods, I need you to go to zen.ai, BWAAA, King of the Hill. So that's zen.ai/BWAAA, King of the Hill. And your offer code there is BWAAA. So Laird Superfoods makes a better creamer that keeps you powered all day, and it's better for you, the earth, and your coffee. What do you say, Rusty? You want to go get some coffee?
Coffee.
Hey, Rusty.
Yeah.
Did you know that dehydration is the leading cause of daytime fatigue?
Oh, no.
I don't know about you, but like 2:30, 3 o'clock, I just hit a wall almost every day. I was shocked to learn that even mild dehydration can cause headaches, muscle weakness, brain fog. But luckily, there's a cure.
Oh, there is?
Actually, I should have said there's a solution. It's called Cure. Cure Hydration. The Cure Hydration is an oral rehydration solution, or ORS, that contains the perfect balance of electrolytes. We know how important that is because plants crave it.
Super important.
And glucose to help your body absorb water and rehydrate quickly. The formula is made with all natural ingredients like coconut water, powder, and pink Himalayan salt. Whoopee. And it is free from artificial flavors, sweeteners, and preservatives. Cure Hydration is vegan, gluten-free, and non-GMO. That makes it a great option for anyone with dietary restrictions and preferences. The packets that they give you, they're convenient, they're easy to use. You just mix them with water and drink. They're perfect for on-the-go, travel, or anytime you need quick hydration. Hydration is more than just drinking water, Rusty. It is, that's what Lauren Picasso, a lifelong endurance athlete, discovered as she struggled to stay hydrated no matter how much water she drank. I've known people like that. My wife drinks so much water, it's crazy. Lauren found Cure, a science-backed electrolyte drink mix to make hydration easy for everyone. Cure believes that hydration should be simple and effective, but also clean and natural. That's why they only use the highest ingredients and quality plant-based stuff to avoid any artificial or harmful additives. They're committed to transparency and honesty. All of their ingredients are clearly listed on their website and packaging, and they're always happy to answer any questions or concerns. So are you ready to combat dehydration?
Absolutely.
You can try Cure today and feel the difference for yourself. Use your code
BWAAA. Sorry, I blanked.
You're good. For 20% off your order. Try Cure today and feel the difference for yourself. Use our special code
BWAAA
for 20% off your order. Your coupon will be activated at checkout. Try Cure Hydration. Stop drying out. Robbers or something. He's got them all wrapped up against a tree, and Hank finally awakens because Dale has knocked him out. And Bobby says, "Dad, you're okay. Don't look him in the eye." It makes him start howling. And then we pan over and we see Dale washing his underwear in the stream with his just ass hanging out. Like I say, both of them are tied up. He comes over and he goes, you thought you could just waltz in here and kill me, did you? So did he." And he points at one of the sticks and it's got a dead frog on it. And Hank says, "Damn it, Dale, you're stupid." He goes, Dale says, "You will speak only when I say you can speak." Hank says, "Remove the tape, Dale." He goes, "Okay, you can speak." Hank says, "Let us go now, and I promise I won't kick your ass later." Yeah. Dale says, "I'm sorry, but I can't do that, Hank. I've got plans for you." "Oh, yeah, I'm going to drain all the blood out of your body. Then I'm going to replace my blood with your non-rabbit blood, which will both cure me and give me all your knowledge of propane and propane accessories." And he eats another mushroom. Hank says, "I think you might be eating the wrong kind of mushrooms, Dale." Dale says, "I know what I'm doing. These mushrooms have been keeping me alive. But what I don't know, Hank, is how you can still talk when there's millions of bugs squiggling in and out of your mouth." Hank says, "Oh, yeah, I can talk. And you just wait until Bill and Boomhauer find us." And then we see Bill and Boomhauer. They are no longer looking for anybody. They are Bill comes out on a tire swing and falls in the water. And Boomhauer is on top of a rock. And he jumps into the water and says, "Dang old Geronimo." So they don't really care. They're just swimming.
They don't care at all.
So we're back with Bobby and Hank tied up, and Dale is kind of giving them his devious plan. He's poking at Hank with a stick, and he goes, "Let's see you try and sell your way out of this one, propane salesman. Where's your precious propane now?" And he just kind of laughs and coughs. Hank says, yeah, you got me, Dale. There's no way out of this. So if I understand your plan, it is to replace your rabies blood with my clean blood. And Dale says, who gave you a copy of my plan?
Who gave you a copy of my plan? He's such a nutcase.
He says, you told me. He goes, so step 1, drain my blood. Since you can't stand the sight of blood, I guess you'll have to hand me my pocket knife. Dale says, oh, I'll do more than hand it to you. I'll open it for you. What?
Yeah, he's eating the psilocybin mushrooms. He's tripping, yeah.
So Hank kind of gives Bobby a little wink and a nod, and he goes, you might want to step back, Dale. There's going to be a lot of blood, a lot. And Dale kind of looks away as Hank is supposedly cutting himself. He goes, okay, there, that's the vein. Ow, boy, that's smart. I mean, he's not even like crying out or anything. Yeah. Dale says, wait a minute, you never cried out in pain in your life. That's what I get for trusting you to drain your own blood. And grabs the knife back from him. And then hisses at him, of course. Hank says, okay, Dale, take it easy. Dale is kind of waving the knife at him. He goes, take it easy. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. I should have cut my vein. He goes, shut up. I'm tired of your face. And then here comes Ladybird. Ladybird walks up. We hear her growl. Hank finally is like, Ladybird. And she's still growling. She's growling at Dale. Dale says, all right, dog, you want a tango? And then the dog finally barks and charges at him. And he goes, ah! And he goes immediately up a tree. So he's up a tree waiting out Ladybird. Hank is down on the ground. He goes, Bobby, the knife. And somehow Bobby has gotten loose because Hank doing a little bit of the sawing with the knife earlier obviously got Bobby loose. And so Bobby comes over and he cuts Hank out. Dale is over there up the tree and he said, get your dog away from me. She's got the rabies. Hank says, Ladybird, down. And then Ladybird follows exactly what he says.
Exactly what he says. Exactly. Doesn't even wait.
Bobby says, Dad, watch out. And she starts coming at Hank. He goes, that's it. Come here. Bobby says, she's got rabies. She'll bite you. He goes, no, she's just wounded and scared. I'm her master. She'd never bite me. Now, Bobby has a gun trained on her.
Yeah, he does.
Because he's afraid that she does have the rabies, and he's going to have to shoot her if that's the case. And Dale says, shoot her with the gun. What else is he going to shoot her with?
Yeah, and Bobby's a crack shot too, so Bobby's not missing.
Yeah. Hank says, Bobby, no. And Dale's like, yes, Bobby, oh. And then, bam, we hear the gunshot as Ladybird kind of jumps towards Hank. Now, we find out that Ladybird has not been hit. Dale says, you missed her. And then Hank is over there, and Ladybird's just licking on him. And he goes, oh, Ladybird, you see, I was right. It's a good thing you missed, Bobby. Bobby says, I didn't miss, Dad. And then we look over, and he shot Bandit. Bandit was coming towards him, and he was afraid that Bandit was going to bite him. Yep, he killed
Bandit, so there you go. Bobby did what he had to do.
He did. And Hank says, Bandit? And Bobby says, I saw him coming. I thought he was going to bite you. Dale says, this isn't over. So long, suckers. And then he's up in that tree. He makes some bird flapping motions. He jumps off of the limb of the tree and just goes flap right in his face on the dirt. Just boom.
Face first.
Yeah. And so they both just kind of look at him. And then he's face first still down in the dirt, flapping his arms. And he goes, Hank, I can see your house from up here.
He's nuts.
In the dirt, dipshit.
Yeah, he's in the dirt, and he's very, very, very high on mushrooms.
He is. All right, so the next thing we see is Hank is pounding a cross into the ground. They've obviously buried Bandit. Bobby is now in a suit because he's at a funeral.
Yeah.
And he goes...
they're burying
buried Bandit.
The fallen hero.
That's right. And now there's also a cone on Ladybird's head. So obviously this is a few days later.
The cone usually indicates medication. She's got some kind of something.
Well, she probably had to get the shots.
She's probably all scratched up too, so she didn't, pick at her wounds.
So Bobby's in a gray suit. He's holding one little marshmallow, and he goes, I guess I'm glad Bandit didn't have rabies. So, I mean, at least we know Ladybird and Mr. Gribble will be okay. Hank says, that's right, son. And Bobby says, thanks for building the cross. He says, no problem, Bobby. Bobby says, I'm going to say a few words now, Dad. He goes, I understand. And then, of course, they bow their heads, and Bobby goes,
yeah. That shit was so funny. He starts making all the same noises that the raccoon makes, yeah.
Hank just goes, amen.
Amen.
And then we get the credits. Now,
you know what I really like to think, though, is that Bobby really was speaking to it. They were really communicating in some kind of way.
You know what? It doesn't matter if he actually was. Bobby thought he was.
Kind of like, what's her name? Eliza Thornberry. How whenever people would see her talking to the animals would just be going, "Row," and then she would be doing the same thing. She would be, well, the thing is whenever people saw them communicating, they would see her making animal noises towards the animals, and they thought that she was kind of crazy because she would do that in the Thornberries. So that's the kind of same thing.
It's like a Dr. Dolittle kind of thing.
Yeah.
So this is one of the ones which you don't get very often, but during the credits, we have another scene. Both of them are walking down the road to the truck. And Hank says, "Say, Bobby, I know this won't be for a while, but when Ladybird dies, how about if I let you pick out our new pet?" Bobby says, "Really? Okay, I'm going to get a possum." He goes, no possums. He goes, "An ostrich then." Hank says, "Well, I was thinking more of a traditional pet, Bobby, like another dog." Bobby says, "Okay, can I get a poodle?" And he says, "No." And that's it. That's it. They're having their regular stuff. And then after the credits, of course, Dale pops up with, "So long, suckers," like he was going to fly away.
Yeah.
But that's it. Season 4, episode 9.
There we go.
To Kill a Ladybird. That was a really good episode.
To Kill a Ladybird. Yeah, that was. I like that one.
Very good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you want to tell them where they can find us if they want more of this foolishness?
Yeah. If you want more of this foolishness, you can now find us on Patreon /BWAAA, or you can find us at www.bwaakoth.com.
You got it. Again, we want to thank everybody that has joined the Patreon. We've got a couple of levels on there. We don't have a lot of content on it yet, but that's coming. That's
coming. Yeah, we're trying to figure out how we're gonna go about developing content, because we want to give y'all more and more and more. So we got to hone that down and figure out what it's going to look like.
Also, we moved into a very tall building, so we're
very tall building.
We're getting over that.
There's the Dr. Pepper Museum right there.
There it is. There it is.
They can't see that.
I know they can't see that.
And then they really can't see that, because all they can do is hear us.
But we just want to thank you all for being here, and thanks for all the support you give us.
Thank you for making us the 108th ranked TV review podcast in the United States of America.
Fantastic.
We appreciate that.
With all the podcasts that are out there, 108, I'll take it. But thank you again, and we will see you guys on Friday, where we'll talk about some emails and a couple other things. And, we'll see you then.
Wimatanye.
Wimatanye indeed. This has been a Rogue Media Network production.